HarperCollins presents Summer Season on the Seafront by Katie Ginger, read by Gloria Sanders. Chapter 1. Sarah scanned the plethora of Chinese food before her and tentatively picked up her fork to skewer a mini spring roll. When Dean, her date, had suggested he choose the restaurant, she'd been excited at the prospect of a fancy meal. His profile on the dating site showed a nice guy with good taste. He liked walking his dog along the beach, old black and white movies, and fine dining. She therefore hadn't expected to be sat in the Szechuan Palace all-you-can-eat buffet, staring at unappetizingly grey egg-fried rice and beef in black bean sauce. Well, that was what the label said, but it more closely resembled bits of old inner soul in tar. Like the meal, Dean also wasn't exactly what it said on the tin. The black and white, extremely soft focus photo had been cleverly taken to hide his receding hairline, and by using a headshot he'd kept the rather rotund and protruding beer belly well hidden from prospective mates. This could only have been in the hope that what his profile had called a fun personality would win the day. It wouldn't. At least not in Sarah's case. According to Dean, a fun personality meant constantly interrupting to talk over her and making childish, full-on racist jokes about Chinese people, even though he was cheerfully tucking into his second plate of food and wearing bits of it on his shirt, presumably to save for later in case he got hungry on the walk home. Instead of the traditional Chinese music, the local radio was loudly playing cheesy 90s pop. Sarah knocked back the remains of her second glass of cheap house white, grimacing slightly as acid with a hint of vinegar slid down her throat. Britney Spears decried "Oops, I Did It Again" over the noise of the other diners, and Sarah watched Dean's second chin wobble as he continued talking about himself, just as he had done all evening. So far, Sarah had heard about his ex-wife, a bit of a heifer since the divorce, apparently, and the latest goings-on in the Arsenal football team. A shambles, according to Dean, the expert. And watched a video on Dean's phone that was supposed to be bloody hilarious, but was actually just a bloke far too old to be on a skateboard, continually falling off as he tried to ride it down a handrail. When Sarah didn't find it fall off your chair funny, Dean had helpfully suggested she cheer up. Thankful that on seeing her date she'd had the foresight to order a bottle, Sarah refilled her glass and took another gulp of wine. An image of Finn Macdonald's strawberry blonde curls appeared in her mind, and Sarah admonished herself for not having left earlier. The trouble was, she felt sorry for Dean. Everyone got nervous on first dates, especially if they'd been out of the game for a while. Maybe underneath it all he was a nice guy. When she'd started dating again, she'd felt constantly nervous and said stupid things, so as a generally kind-hearted soul, Sarah had given Dean a second chance. Plus, at that point, they'd only been half an hour in and she was starving. But time had passed painfully slowly, and the last hour had been verging on waterboarding levels of torture, zapping her appetite. No, there was no denying the date hadn't got any better. However, as Dr. Macdonald had so far failed to notice her existence on the reception desk, and the puddings looked quite nice, Sarah decided to make one last valiant effort to find some common ground. So, Dean, your profile said you like old black and white movies. What's your favourite? I love... Oh, yeah, bit of a cheeky one, that, really. My mate Dave told me to put it in there, said the girls like that sort of thing. I don't really like that many.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?